A próxima hora vamos olhar para o 5G e como temos vários convidados internacionais, obviamente que esta conversa será feita em inglês. Volto a apelar, quem está em casa, através da nossa aplicação, pode e deve fazer perguntas. Vamos olhar para o 5G, explicar o que é, para que serve e o que podemos esperar no mundo inteiro e também aqui em Portugal. So let's talk about the future. We are looking for the 5G and the digital economy. This is the subject. If you are watching this, you can put some questions. Our guests are going to answer your questions. You have in our app all the details, so please send some questions. Help me to this conversation. Almost everything that we are going to do in the future is going to be with 5G. The food we eat, the way we talk, the way we have fun, the way we going to fight the pandemic. 5G is really the future. We're going to ask our guests what 5G is and what can we use or what can we do with the use of the 5G. So our guests in this segment, it's Gabriel Solomon from Ericsson. Gabriel, welcome to the conference. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Abraham Liu. Okay. Abraham Liu from Huawei. Mr. Liu, welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. And here with me at the studio, it's Bruno Casadinho, Capgemini. Bem-vindo. E Sérgio Catalão from Nokia. Bem-vindo também. Welcome, everybody. Gentlemen, let's start with the definition of 5G, because most of the time we are talking about 5G, and my question is everybody knows what 5G is and the power of 5G? That's my question, so let's hear your presentations. Gabriel Solomon, I'm going to start with you. Please, tell us.
Thank you. A tough question to ask, but I would say that at Ericsson we see 5G as the critical link that will interconnect a vast array of advanced technologies. So it's not just a technology or a generation by itself. It's something that really blends everything around us, both the physical worlds and the digital worlds. If it's deployed successfully, 5G will be the central nervous system for the economy and society. We see it very much as an open innovation platform that can catalyze digital transformation and drive decarbonization across all sectors, from agriculture to manufacturing to transport and beyond. In terms of the economic benefits, a recent study we commissioned with Qualcomm from Analysys Mason points to 5G-enabled smart factories driving 70 billion euros in gains, followed closely by agriculture at 46 billion. When we think of different use cases, in terms of the benefits to costs, 5G fixed wireless access came in highest at 10, so that's 10 times more value than the cost of provisioning it. Agriculture came in at 8, smart factories and transport at 6, energy utilities at 5. So we're working across these sectors to really demonstrate the power and benefits of 5G. And we believe that in Europe, we're slightly behind other regions, and that for our economy, particularly as the next wave of innovation is going to be built on this infrastructure, it's vital that it gets built quickly. Now, in order to achieve the benefits from 5G, we really need to focus on mid-band coverage, not just low frequency, but also mid-band. And it's very important, as I'm sure you all know in Portugal, that spectrum is released into the market quickly and done so in a way that incentivizes operators to invest so that the pricing isn't too high, that deployment barriers are removed, and that the market structure evolves naturally. All these can help investment incentives. I'm mindful of the IMF's recent recommendation to all European countries that governments should consider using tax incentives to bring forward investment. In the UK, for example, 25% of all capital expenditure can be written off against tax for a period of 2 years. This means that telecom operators and many other businesses in the UK will accelerate and bring forward their investment decisions. Now, Isabel's kindly put up the slide I wanted to show you. This is an estimate from the Analysys Mason study of 5G coverage in Portugal over the next 5 to 10 years. If we look on the right, we can see coverage driven by enhanced mobile broadband business case. And as you can see, we can expect impressive low-band coverage by 2025. But as I mentioned before, mid-band is critical. This is where we will get the step change in performance and quality of experience that we are now expecting from 5G. And that is the purple shaded area on the left, which, as you can see, is clustered around the main population centers and transport corridors. But by 2025, only 3% of Portuguese landmass is expected to have mid-band coverage. So many businesses, farms, and vineyards will not have access, which will limit the ability of Portuguese economy to digitally transform itself. The map on the right shows what's expected after 2025. The green area is the additional commercially driven mid-band coverage, which Analysys Mason estimates will cover 70% of the population, but only 23% of the agricultural areas. Now, to achieve much broader coverage, some public intervention is expected to be required. The analysis suggests that around 200 million euros of public subsidy, for example, coming from the Recovery and Resilience Facility, could extend mid-band coverage to wherever it is needed and help drive more than 1.6 billion euros in economic gains, and those will mostly be achieved in rural areas. And I need to ask, why wait for 2030? Pervasive mid-band coverage could be achieved much sooner. We have a political will, we have, I think, the operators keen to innovate with 5G, and we have an inordinate amount of funding coming into the sector via the Recovery and Resilience Facility. So there is every chance that Portugal can accelerate and catch up with its peers. All the research is available on our website. If you Google 5G and Europe's recovery, it's all there. And thank you very much for listening to me. I look forward to the broader discussion.
Okay, we will do that. Mr. Abraham Liu, your perspective about 5G and what's going to happen in the future all around the world, and we can talk after about Portugal too.
Thank you very much for having me on this discussion. As part of the industry, ICT industry, when it comes to about 5G, I believe my colleagues working over in 170 countries, can have a lot of story to share. But today, I think I want to share with you that the 5G is far more than a faster speed network. It's more actually about enabling the vertical industry digital transformation. And by doing so, the whole society, human being, will be benefit from that. And in one word, we have summarized the benefit of 5G in 4 savings. It will save time, save costs, save space, and energy. I'd like to start by sharing you one story, from Huawei own story. We are one of the innovator together with Ericsson, Nokia, the industries. We are the leading players in the 5G infrastructure technological solution. But we prefer to apply those solutions first, in our own manufacturing system. So 2 years ago, we have started our manufacturing, a new factory in South China in Dongguan. And that factory is kind of an Industry 4.0 level of factory. And by implementing 5G base station 2 years ago, and the 5G connectivity has enabled this factory, cut off 560,000 meters of length of cable. Let me be clear, 560,000 meters of cables. And, for that factory is a 4 stories of factory. And it's not only about the saving of the length, those amount of cables, it's also saving the timing of building that factory. It's also about saving energies, in that factory. And more importantly, it provides the agility for the factory for the future, adjustment of different kind of manufacturing activities. At the moment, that factory is serving for making our smartphone devices, and we use also AGV, the autonomous driving small vehicles, to carrying all these components. One smartphone have almost 2,500 different components, and it's also the 5G network enable those AGVs to carry all these components, and the accuracy rate has been increased dramatically. And also we use this 5G network to do the check, verification of the quality check and all that. So it's when it comes to 5G to business, to the smart manufacturing.
Okay, we are having some problems with the live connection. As soon as it's been solved, we're going back to Mr. Abraham Liu. I'm going to try and again. I just waiting to see if we reestablish. No, we have definitely some problems with the live connection, but we continue with this presentation. Now, as I told you, we have Bruno Casadinho and Sergio Catalão here. Bruno from Capgemini, starting with you, Bruno. Let's hear about this 5G in your perspective.
Thank you, João. So
you can go on. We still have problems with the live view, so
it's not supposed to happen with 5G, right?
Yeah. We need 5G for this.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. So
5G, the new era.
I will try to provide you the vision of Capgemini Engineering around 5G and how can 5G can accelerate our digital economy. And to do so, I will start with sharing a video that I ask to start.
I think they have it. Our director is going to put it on.
Faster connection, instant experience, smarter investments. Fan of music? Imagine attending a live festival played by a hologram, where thousands of people can access, film, and communicate through their smartphone without losing network signal. Right down to college, 5G will allow students to download a 4K in less than 10 seconds and boost VR remote learning capabilities, where one will be able to experiment advanced training in virtual scenarios with a technology that is expected to reach VR 40 million equipments in 2023. Flying to the adult age, 5G will allow 1,000 times more capacity, which means more connected devices and users, as improvements in self-driving cars and the revolution of IoT. Emergency? 5G will increase drone capacity to monitor and broadcast real-time information that can be used in fighting a fire or assist in case of an emergency. Ready to connect?
Okay then, so I would say that the question now is how far are we from this promised future, right? And I will invite you to elaborate a little bit on this by providing three different perspectives. So the first one is it the 5G value proposition clear? Well, I would say that yes, the answer is yes. Why? Because the faster broadband is there, so low latency, massive IoT, and ultra reliable networks. So the first question, the answer would be yes. The second question would be, is 5G technology ready to be used? And I think the answer is partially yes, right? So faster broadband is there, definitely, thanks to the great job done by the vendors. But the low latency and the ultra reliable networks and also the massive IoT is still to come. And so the third perspective that I would like to elaborate with you is, do we have a sustainable ecosystem? I mean, sustainable business models and sustainable business cases for 5G? And I think we still don't have an answer to this question, okay? So we at Capgemini Engineering, so we have started this journey back to 2017, in Portugal by developing the first R&D 5G projects, defining the new architecture for service orchestration, developing the new edge solution for content broadcast. But quite recently, we have inaugurated as well our 5G lab in Portugal at Fundão. And this is a great asset for us, but for the country, okay? And we really believe that this is an ecosystem where every single company and institution can use it to develop and test their own 5G solutions. So we think that's great, but that's not enough. And we think that since we are in a Congress, we would like to end our introduction with a proposition, okay? And the proposition is the following one. So we really need an ecosystem, an integrated ecosystem that we call it 5G platform, where we can aggregate every single 5G players, the relevant ones and the new ones, no matter if we are talking about a startup or a public institution. So our proposition for you is Portugal needs to develop this platform. And by doing so, we believe that we will be able to create new strategic alliances and partnerships. And by sharing the knowledge and the learnings that each of us are taking from the field, we really can increase the level of competitiveness of our countries. So we don't have pre-assumptions on this idea, but we are more than happy to further discuss it with you. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's continue. I think Sergio, we're going to talk in a minute because I think we have the connection with Mr. Adrian Liu. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, let's finish your presentation. And we hope that the 5G helps in the future to have better connections. So go on, please.
Thank you very much indeed. I think this is I'm sorry for being disconnected just now. I think this is also showing that how much extra work we need to do. Probably 5G can bring us better network at least in Belgium, where I am now physically. And I guess, the situation in Portugal is much better, from what is showing now. But as I mentioned, 5G, we have tried 5G application, especially when it comes to the vertical industry digitalization, the vertical, as an enabler to enable the vertical industry from, being fully connected, fully intelligent. And we've tried in our own factory, and it saves our, more than 560 kilometers of cable in one factory in Shenzhen, and that is indirectly, means a lot of saving on time, on cost, and also on energy, to support that factory to be fully carbon neutral factory, zero emission CO2 emission factory. And I want to also emphasize, I'm here in Europe. We see Europe have a lot of very strong companies in different vertical industry, from manufacturing to the automotive to healthcare, many in the industry. And then we are, when it comes to the adoption of the 5G, we are at the stage of joint collaboration, joint innovation from 0 to 1 when it comes to vertical industry adoption for the 5G. And then because Europe is also good at, standardization. So when the innovation from 0 to 1 accomplished, and then make it a international standard or European standard, and then scale up in a massive way, and then that will greatly impact the different vertical industry. And from the data I have received from my colleagues, by March 2021, which means 40 days ago, there are 153 commercial 5G networks globally, worldwide, has been deployed, and the 5G connection is expected to reach out 550 million by the end of this year. I think the speed is a bit different from continent to continent, from country to country. But we do see the ones who have embraced the 5G, in earlier speed, faster speed, they are enjoying of those kind of innovation. First, earlier birds benefit in terms of the benefit of the 5G. And I think, as I mentioned at the beginning, the 5G, I think for the whole human society means four things, four savings. The saving on time, saving on cost, and saving on space and energy. That is, I would stop here, and I'd like to interact with the other panelists later.
Let's do that. Mr. Liu, thank you. Now, Sérgio Catalão, it's your time from Nokia. Let's hear about 5G.
Obrigado, thank you. I would like to thank APDC and to Rogério for this invitation. Many thanks. I think it's a pleasure for me to be with you here today, especially when we are in a new cycle. We are launching a new cycle for the country, so it's a strategic one, launching the 5G. So, put the slides.
Here we go.
Oh, sorry. So let me start by some challenges that the world is facing. Pressure on the planet is increasing. Access to opportunities remain unequal, and the productivity is declining for the last 50 years. Despite the fact that we tried and we did some nearshoring and offshoring of our production to low-cost countries, this is simply not enough anymore. So we believe that technology is central for solving those challenges. And why? Because it will enable critical networks that will bring together world's people, devices, and also machines in real time and at a massive scale. 5G is, of course, a game changer. It's a cornerstone of those critical networks. It's more than the next generation mobile connectivity. It will bring massive connections. It will bring capacity, reliability, and also security. But also it will bring and it will enable the usage of critical and disruptive technologies that are so important for digitalization and for automation, such as IoT or artificial intelligence or VR or even big data, with which we will digitalize and automatize our industries, changing the rules of manufacturing, but also, for example, we will improve lives in cities by a better usage of resources. So, according to a study published by Nokia Bell Labs, 5G will have a value creation impact of $8 trillion on global GDP by 2030 by bringing the benefits of digital into physical industries, such as manufacturing or mining or transportation. And I think this is a unique opportunity that our industry has to restore productivity improvement and increase in the world through manufacturing revolution, the fourth industrial revolution, which will bring factories to our home markets. They will be smaller, they will be flexible, they will be agile, and also secure with proximity to consumers. And this is a huge opportunity for Europe. This is also a huge opportunity for Portugal. Only countries with bold transitions to digital will capture all this growth. Also, according to this study by Nokia Bell Labs, global emissions could be reduced by 4% by using artificial intelligence applications, and so that will be enabled in a way by 5G. This journey has started, according to a survey that we did in several industries and verticals, and also in the US and also in some countries in Europe, 65% of companies are already familiarized with the 5G potential. 47% are making plans to use 5G use cases. energy and manufacturing are leading as of today, and 56% of small and medium enterprises do have planned to look into 5G capabilities in the near future. And this is a very important message for Portugal because of the profile of our businesses. But to capture the full potential of this digitalization, we need more than technology. We need new competencies, we need new skills, we need deep expertise in the verticals, in the industry verticals. So the industry verticals expertise is so important to better understand how we can dematerialize physical and replace by digital. And so this is what we are doing with our Nokia Bell Labs research arm, also working with our customers, being operators or enterprises. We are quite well present in our enterprise, in the enterprise space, and also with the ecosystems of partners that we have, together with the technology leadership in mobile, in fixed, and also in cloud. So we are taking a leadership position in this transition. Currently, we delivered already around 300 transformation projects across all the industry verticals and across all the regions in the world. For example, in manufacturing, what we are doing with Toyota or Bosch, digitalizing and automatizing the factory production of those companies, or with the transportation vertical, for example, where we are automatizing the control of ports in the UK, or with Lufthansa, where we are digitalizing the maintenance and the repair of the aircraft. Also in public sector projects in smart cities, for example, like the city of Grasse or Leuven in Belgium, where concepts of smart city are being, let's say, developed with several applications, but for example, resource utilization is one, but also public safety is another one. In the energy sector, for example, also we have some projects with where we are doing grid monitoring as an application that we are bringing for this transformation of the industries. So we believe that this industry has a unique opportunity really to impact on solving the world's challenges, such as the pressure on the climate, or equality, or restoring the economical growth in the world by a new manufacturing revolution. This is a great opportunity for Europe. It is also a great opportunity for Portugal. We cannot miss this opportunity. That's why it's so important, the action plan for digital transition that we have now for the country, where a clear framework with clear set of targets are in place. And so we believe that technology, 5G, but also trustworthy partnerships and ecosystems are so important for the solution of the challenge that we can solve in the world. And so I close with the purpose of our company, which is much more than delivering technology or products, and I think it's much aligned with the purpose of solving the challenges that we have in the world, and we are creating technology to help world act together. Many thanks.
Okay, we have the perspective of 4 brands. Now we're going to have some questions. I'm going to put some questions to our guests, but you at home, please send your questions, and it will be a pleasure to put those questions to our guests. Gabriel, I'm going back to you again, and everybody here talks about speed, connection, etc. A lot of technical issues, but we have a lot of people listening, watching, and they sometimes ask the basics. So I'm going to start with that. What means 5G for consumers and for operators in a daily basis examples?
I think from a consumer perspective, probably the most interesting examples come from Korea, who were first out of the gate commercializing 5G almost 2 years ago, I think. And one of the use cases that has been so astounding has been sort of interactive sports. Not only interactive gaming, that was kind of well known in the fixed internet world, but that's now moved to 5G and mobile. But more interactive sporting, so being in an arena and having multiple different vistas of what's going on, seeing your favorite star, following them. Basically, you know, what I'm trying to say, I think, is that there are levels of experience that we, in Europe at least, have yet to experience and probably have yet to imagine. But those are being driven primarily out of Asia, but also in the USA, because the infrastructure is already built. And so the ecosystem has something to fall back on and innovate on.
Abraham Liu, ask you the same questions in a different way. The sky is the limit for consumers. What can we do with 5G?
We have actually this answer. Only time we'll be able to answer this question. You know, after 10 years probably. At the moment, we are really at the beginning of this. This wave of technology. Revolution. And to consumers, I would say, as my colleague from Ericsson has mentioned, this those called XR, X reality, including virtual reality, AR, VR, and mixed reality, applications has already blooming in South Korea. And when they have tried something like watching football match, or from your on demand, because of the 5G capabilities, they are what you can. Every customer, every consumers, you can define which camera you want to follow, or which star you want to follow simultaneously. It's really every audience watch different kind of angle of this football match. I think that is just at the beginning, and then the 5G will also enable those application, about 8K and so on and so forth. I think 5G means more about to the vertical industry, of course, to those people who working in those industry. I'm sharing you one example for the ports. We have done some collaboration in over 10 different kind of ports in China, and also the ones in Rotterdam. Basically, as you know, their port, is playing a function of transport those containers from the ship to the those trucks, and then there are hundreds of thousands of them, and the cranes is doing the work, of moving those containers. And then those workers who work, on the top of those crane is really a special kind of job, because normally they need to climb onto the top of those 30 meters or even higher, a taller crane, and then with his lunchbox and stay there for over 8 days. And the work on the top of those cranes is really very difficult, because they always need to have a special posture and look down from the top, because they need to watch carefully how those hands, those tools can grasp those containers, accurately and manually doing all that. So normally the life, the working lifespan, for those workers is up to 40 years old, and it's very difficult for those ports to attract the young people to do those kind of job. But with the 5G, because of the 5G can provide the high definition, video, to the remotely, and also can have a very slow, short network latency. So now, because of the 5G application in those ports, the workers, they can work in a very well air-conditioned, nice environment, like what we are doing in the office, and remotely, work in front of the computer, operating those cranes remotely. Like play a game in front of the, in front of the computer, but in fact, they are operating those hundreds of thousands of containers, and the efficiency has been improved greatly. And then one worker operator actually can simultaneously operate more than one crane. I think this, if you assume this is just at the beginning, and the similar thing can be applied in other vertical industry like the mining industry. Instead of people go underground and doing this kind of mining job, we can send those machines and then go down underground, and then the workers, they can work in a very much better situation.
I think we got the picture.
Normal office.
Okay.
I think that means a huge change for the human society in the future.
Thank you so much. I have to put questions to the four guests, if you don't mind, just a little bit, to be more fair. I'm going to talk with my guests here in Portugal, Sergio and Bruno, and the same question that I put to the other guests, but in the Portuguese perspective, because a lot of Portuguese right now, they are wondering what is going to be different. For instance, 5G from the 3G or the 4G. Bruno.
Yeah, I think that's the right question, João, and especially because when we look at 5G, and so there's a clear benefit for the individual consumer, but it's a much more and broader benefit from 5G to the industries, like Sergio said. So the ability and the opportunity that we have to transform the way that we operate business and the way that we do business with 5G, it's unique. And of course, there is a journey that is not completed. Okay, so as I said in my introduction, so there is a promised future with a lot of use cases. By the way, we have talked hundreds and hundreds about use cases and potential use cases. The most, I would say, promised ones are when we consider and when we look at self-driving or mission critical or healthcare. And we need to, I think it's our duty also to manage the expectations of the whole ecosystem, right? So we are far from that moment. Anyway, we are closer than we were in the past. So said that, I think I insist in my perspective that the way that a country like Portugal that has been in the previous generations of the communication, 2G, 3G and 4G, we were always in the front line of that technologies.
And so, are we going to be in the front line of 5G? Or
I think
we are already late?
I think we have all the conditions to be and to stick in the front line of the countries that are leading this. Why? Because we have capabilities, we have expertise, we have a full ecosystem that, and by the way, we are probably the best lab that we have in Europe to test those use cases in a controlled environment, and I think we should and we must take benefit from this ecosystem by being within the UE, and of course there is a lot of and by talking about the resilience and the recovery plan that was launched by the European Commission and the Portuguese government, we need to use this opportunity to jump significantly on that field. So coming back to your question, John, I think we have a tremendous opportunity, but depends on us not to work on an individual perspective, but collectively.
Sergio, the same question. I mean, here in Portugal, we are looking for 4G. We were waiting for the auction, but what's going to be different for our country, for our companies?
First of all, I think we will be also leading in 5G. I mean, it's a matter of time. We've proven to be leaders in the other technology, and I'm pretty much sure that in Portugal we have the right ecosystem and the innovation skills to be there. Regarding what will be different, and really it's much more than the individual, because I think the consumers, yes, they will have experiences, different experience, but it's about what the individuals as a collective can profit from the 5G. So what the cities can offer to the individuals, right? What opportunities of reskilling, for example, of competencies 5G will drive to our individuals, because competencies will be absolutely critical for the digital transformation, right? And so it's about what can we, and we as a technology companies, we have also this responsibility to be able to understand what is in need for example, for a city in the north part of Portugal with a specific industry, right? Or for south part of Portugal, where we have kind of agriculture type of activity. So what's in it for them? So what can be the transformation drivers for let's say, for the collective? It's much more than the individuals, in my view. It's really that we need to reach out as a country to our individuals, but in a collective manner also from businesses, companies. We need to reach out. This is what we are doing, for example, by participating in innovation networks, where we are trying to let's say, to collaborate with enterprise and also with public administration on driving what could be the 5G capabilities or use cases that, in the case of Portugal, that will make sense.
Gabriel, I think that 5G, of course, is a very lucrative business, and we have here some questions at our Q&A from consumers. And one of the consumers asked if will 5G bring greater costs on internet services? I mean, comparing with 4G, the price is going to be much higher than we pay right now?
I think absolutely not. I think if you look at the trend of mobile pricing over the last 20 years, look at the price per gigabit. That has gone down by more than 95%, and usage has spiraled or spiked. So on a gigabit basis, what we will see from 5G is increased unit price deflation.
So the costs, I mean, the price is not, it's not an issue. Another question is about safety, because we know that we have good information and we have fake news, but there is a concern about safety of this technology. What do you have to say about the safety of 5G?
Basically, 5G is safe. In terms of concerns about electromagnetic frequency transmission, we need to follow the science. And all scientific evidence thus far proves that 5G, the emission levels are well below what is already recommended. So really, it's not an issue.
How about the 5G spreading all around the world? We know by fact that the pandemic right now create a huge gap between rich and poor. My question is 5G is going to be global, or it depends on the income of the countries and the families?
Now, that's a great question. And to touch on some of the other issues that were mentioned earlier, we believe that global standards are critical because these drive economies of scale, which keep prices down and make mobile very affordable for all. We see 5G as the fastest scaling mobile technology, so faster than 4G, faster than 3G, and faster than 2G. And I think we at Ericsson, and I think some other companies, have been working with the World Bank to identify strategies that lower income countries can take to benefit from 5G at the same time. But I think we have to realize that as we go into an era where 5G becomes critical national infrastructure, that the policies and playbooks that governments have used in the past have to change. So it's got to be a win-win situation. Governments have to want the infrastructure to be built, want the connectivity to be available wherever it is needed, and help the private sector achieve that.
Mr. Abraham, go on, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying, there's no reason 5G should be increasing the digital divide. It's a great opportunity to close the digital divide once and for all. We just need to all align behind the same desire to do that.
Mr. Abraham Liu, the same question. Is going to be 5G a global technology that everybody is going to use at the same amount, at the same time, with the same possibility?
I fully agree with what Gabriel has mentioned. 5G, in the 5G era, the digital gap should be better fulfilled, not be enlarged. I think the technology solution provider like us, we have a role to play. Like from our side, from Huawei side, we provide those equipment, 5G base station for the high density area, but we also customize those solutions for the rural or urban area, which means a greater saving in terms of the total cost of ownership. You know, the easier access, you know, to the much less, you know, relying on the other infrastructure like electricity. You know, those 5G base stations can be powered by the solar panel, and the backhaul transmission can be enabled by the other 5G base station or by the 5G microwave link wherever there is no fiber availability. I think those are actions, you know, effort from our side we have made, and of course we are committed to do more to promote the digital inclusion, because that is exactly what we believe. You know, leave nobody behind in the 5G era is one very important value we should respect. But I want to emphasize that, you know, only in case, you know, everyone join together on these efforts, then this can be a reality.
Let's hope so. Let's look to the situation again here in Portugal, and I have some questions from our audience, and I think it's for Sergio and Bruno, your perspective about the situation that we are living right now. I'm talking about the auction. How do you see this process of the auction of the 5G here in Portugal? Bruno.
Well, João, we are an engineering and service company, right? So we are probably not the right company to comment the auction. I hope that the situation will be ended quite soon, for sake of the 5G become to alive. However, I would say, just coming back to your previous question about the cost of the 5G, so I think 5G will not be different from the other innovation process and life cycles, right? So the technology needs to become mainstream to decrease the prices, okay? But at the same time,
But it's going to take time.
It will take time, of course, but at the same time, the way that we must look at this is there is a tremendous opportunity to increase the efficiency of the operations, and throughout the 5G, find the new sources of new revenue streams. And so that's why I insist on my introduction. So we need to look at this collectively, because 5G will be new. There's no magic answers to that. But as soon as we work together, we will get closer to the right answers and to the right business case. Because I think that's what we need in Portugal to unlock the situation.
Right. Sergio, the auction is something that everybody's asking, why is the auction take so much time? But I think it's an issue because we want to be leaders in this technology.
So I will agree with Bruno as well.
So nobody wants to talk about the auction?
I would say that, I mean, for sure it is what it is. I mean, they have the dates and it's rolling, so we need to wait and move on. So I think, as I said before, more important is I think we have the right conditions to be leading also as a country in 5G. We proved that in the past with other technologies. So it's an opportunity for Portugal. Also, I would like to add to that the fact that we are ready. I mean, we are preparing everything what we can. We, from the very beginning, from our center of competences that we have in Portugal, that are early engaged in 5G and, for example, cybersecurity across the world. So in the early phases of 5G, we have prepared ourselves in the country. So we are ready to roll out. We are ready also to work with our customers, for example, on the enterprise side, that we are, bringing the transformation, let's say, potential to the discussion. So we are making, let's say, the framework. We are preparing the framework to be ready to roll out. And as I said, I think we will lead as well in the 5G as we did in the others.
We have 1 minute, but here in Portugal, like in other countries, the problem of safety. Your thoughts about this, because there are people thinking this is not going to be safe. So share with us.
As said,
what do you know about
I think safety, we've proven, we have proved as a technology that the 5G is safe. For sure, on the other side, whatever we do, we are bringing safety when we develop products, when we design products, and so this is a concern, but in our case at Nokia we are tackling that concern, and for sure this will not be an issue.
Bruno, 30 seconds, the same question.
No, I would say so. We have the right institutions to make sure that the technology is safe. So that's their duty to make sure that this is going to be a safe technology. And I agree with my colleagues of panel that 5G is safe and will be safe.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. It was a really pleasure. Mr. Gabriel Solomon, thank you so much. Hebron Liu, thank you so much. And I hope that the 5G helped the connection better next time. Bruno Casadinho, thank you, and Sergio Catalão, also thank you. Thank you for everybody that was watching and put some questions here. You can continue in our app, and now I'm going to change to Portuguese. Vamos continuar então com este Congresso da APDC. Já sabe, tem aí uma aplicação na qual pode e deve fazer algumas perguntas, elas estão a chegar aqui, e é uma forma de interagir connosco. E agora vamos aos prémios com a Cristina Esteves.
É verdade, agora vamos reconhecer talento.